Hello everyone, we're going to talk about 3D printing. So at Frog Racing we have been doing some 3D printing for over a year now, and we started with fun little things like those fun print of the Audi S1 from PAX Peak, doing 3D prints of the races we are doing, so using the telemetry data from our race cars to build get out of the mountains we are driving with the race car. And for this, the Bambu Lab H2 has been very great. We're using the AMS Pro on top to switch between filament. We actually have two of them connected to that printer. And for all those little print, especially multicolor print, the H2 is really great. It has a larger build platform than the smaller P series of Bambu Labs. When I started printing, we had a bunch of Prusa printers at work at the makerspace. Those are great printers if your hobby is building 3D printers and working on 3D printers. If your hobby is more like me, making functional parts, so for example here I made harness colors for the racing harnesses in the cars, and those are made of carbon fiber reinforced nylon. Those are materials that are not necessarily super easy to print, but with a bamboo printer like this one, you pretty much don't have to know anything about how the 3D printer works. Most of the settings are going to work out of the box. You spent your time actually doing the 3D design in your 3D modeling tool, and you just put that in the slicer, press print, and it's going to print for you. So let's talk a bit about materials. PLA is great for prototyping stuff, doing a quick print, checking your dimensions. It's going to be very brittle. It's not going to resist to heat. So it's ready just for prototyping. If you want to do a functional part to test, taking a little bit more heat, that's made in PETG. And so PETG has a little bit more resistance than PLA. It also has more heat resistance. So for outside parts, you can have a better idea with PETG. For the final products for exterior parts here, I'm using ASA, which is much stronger and extremely resistant to the element. Those are for parts that don't need any flex. If you use here PETG for a mud flap, this is what's going to happen. It doesn't flex enough. It's not very resistant. It's going to break. You can see the other mud flap here on first impact. PETG breaks. I did make some mud flaps in ABS like this. ABS actually works pretty well. It's more flexible, more resistant to impact. You can see here it separates because the layer adhesion between the two ABS is not very strong. So here I made another version where actually it looks like it's going through, but there's just a couple layers outside. It's all black in between those two layers, so I have ABS in between the external layers, and the external layers are really just there for show and for your graphics. So ABS works fine. The main issue is that it's not very resistant to weather, and so you are going to have quick discoloration on your ABS parts. So for mud flaps, now I'm printing out of TPU, which is a bit more complex process to print, but TPU has a flexibility and extreme weather resistance that we are looking for mud flaps. The TPU filament is too weak to go through the regular feeder. You have one feed in the back for TPU if you want to use this, but if you want to print two colors, the only option is to print that contraption here to hold the spools at the top and feed them directly into the head. The problem is that now my filament is exposed and is not in a humidity controlled environment or heat controlled environment, it could be tricky if you have a room that has high humidity or temperatures that are not ideal for TPU. And TPU prints extremely slowly compared to other materials, so your prints are going to take much longer. For functional parts that are going to be exposed to extreme heat, so here I have my oil cooler sprayer that is just over the excessive heat of the engine. That's PA6EF, carbon fiber reinforced nylon. Same thing for the air intake box, the STI that is exposed to the element, the heat from the turbo. This thing is made of PA6EF, carbon fiber reinforced nylon. And anything pretty much in the engine bay, you would probably want to go with this. This is a factory air intake. Those printers are figuring out most of the difficult stuff for you, and if you follow some basic instructions, it does a really good job at getting excellent results in the prints. I've designed other things like those steering wheel hooks that can also serve as a GoPro mount to record your video and attach to your roll cage. A little bit bigger parts like those sun visors, and actually this thing only work in a H series printer. You can't print that stuff in a P series, they're too small. But I also reached the limits of those are louvers who are printing for race cars that fit in the bumper to direct the air into the cooling radiators. Those are reaching the limit of what I can print with the H2D. The problem of the H2D is that it has two heads, and it's great to do multicolor or multi-material things, but if you are trying to use the full size of the bed, you can't do it because the left head cannot reach the right hand side of the plate and the right head cannot reach the left hand side of the plate. So most of the functional parts you are going to do are going to be single material like this. You are not going to need dual heads and changing material and stuff. And so that's why now we are getting as our second printer a Bambu H2S, which is a single head printer that can use the full size of the bed. Actually, this one, even trying to orient it the best way I could in the printer so it basically print at an angle sideways like this so it can fit in the space. I had actually to shrink it down. I couldn't print it in the correct size. And if you try to slice your print, you put it in two parts and reassemble it after, it's pretty weak and doesn't work very well. So to reproduce larger parts like this front splitter on the RS4, I made a prototype in PLA. You will have to use a cutting function in the slicer to join your elements together. So here I ended up with a cut like this, and I made an extra piece here to join the two pieces and use heat sets. This one is a prototype. Here, that's my final version printed in ASA that I'm initially gluing together with epoxy, and then we'll finish with the heat sets. Trying to 3D scan this is actually a waste of time with the complexity, the holes and stuff. You are better off measuring and redoing most of the parts I've designed. Even this one here, I started from the stock fog light cover but did a fog light delete, so I wanted to have a new design with fins. I tried to 3D scan this. It was a painful and long process. I couldn't really use the mesh. I used the online AI tool to just upload a video and generate a 3D model that was actually good enough to get me the shape of the frame, and then work the model in my 3D modeling tool to get to my final version. This is why I'm using an H2S now, so I can print this at full size in one print without to have to cut anything. Anytime you are going to have to assemble and glue stuff together, it's a ton of work. So I printed over a functional part like this is air intake box for the Subaru rally car that has an evacuation for the water for rally, and so that can print in the H2D, but to print those kind of material when you are printing in nylon, you need a heated chamber that maintains properly the temperature, and the Bambu's H series are great for that because they are gonna maintain the proper temperature and be able to print those materials. I use AMS HT that maintains the filament. Like nylon has to be 85 degrees Celsius to heat the filament for 10 to 12 hours to dry it, and then you need to print at that temperature. The regular AMS units cannot heat up to that temperature, so you need a dedicated unit. I also have this servo filament dryer heater that I also use to dry the filament, but can also use to anneal the nylon after a print, because nylon needs to be dried even after you printed it to remove the moisture and make sure the filament stays strong. If you are looking for a 3D printer and need something that works out of the box and don't spend 3 days to put it together and spend countless prints failing because you have to constantly tweak and set up the printer, the Bambu Labs are really great low maintenance printers, and you can just focus on your design and let the printer do its work. Just to show you how easy it is to set up a Bambu printer, this one just arrived today. I'm gonna record the time lapse of me installing it by myself and see how long it takes to set up and do our first print. And that's it. Installation is complete. I just have to wait for the printer to finish its own calibration. And that's all you have to do to set up a Bambu printer. You will find all the products mentioned in this video on our website in our recommended product page. If you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe. This helps our channel. Thank you.